Hi everyone, welcome back to Be Rich. This is me, Vinod, back in Bangalore, trying to get a video out to you guys remotely. I have my kids and I'm in my household here and it is pure chaos, but I'm trying to get it done as promised. Today I wanted to talk about the AMD, Nvidia, and all the other semiconductor companies, and should you be investing and looking at it in the US especially. But before I get into that, as always, I would like to talk about the comments you guys have given me in the last video, and I wanted to quickly punch through that before I get into discussing the meat of the video. Uday Kumar Durai 4179, Chitra Rajaraman, Smartman Satish, Waris Loves Everyone, and quite a few others have been asking me to come on MoneyPechu and you're missing me. And I hear you loud and clear, and I will try and come on MoneyPechu. What I would like to know is, should I do English videos there? But I don't know if English videos would work there. I think I should stick to Tamil. So that is a further question which I want you guys to answer in today's video. Comment saying, how should I be on MoneyPechu? Should I try and, can I count it in Tamil? And you know how terrible my Tamil is, but should I do that, or should you want me to do it in English there? But if I do it in English, I'm sure I'll get all Anand's fans furious that I'm there. But anyway, that's an interesting question for you to ponder and answer me in the next video. Please do more videos on Indian stocks, not just US focused. Well, that's a fair point. But we are trying to explore global stories. Like I said in the previous videos, value investing is about a mindset. It is about looking for opportunities. And it is good to spread our wings a little bit and see opportunities and learn. Like I've always said, I would like you to learn to become value investors than just looking at me for specific stocks that you should be investing in. That Anand is doing very nicely in the sister channel in Tamil. So, you know, he talks very specifically about stocks, and you can really look at that and get that patas list going. But here, my focus is more to try and teach you to be independent and free thinkers. So I think global stocks and global insights are very important, especially when you talk about the world's largest market and economy. So be patient and you will really find value in what I'm doing. On top of it, my brother is the one who directs this whole ship. Trust me, he's my captain, and he's told me he would like to try this out as an experiment, and he's told me to stick with it for a while. So be patient. If I can stick with it and watch view counts drop, subscriptions drop, and still manage to put a smile and come out with you guys, I think we can manage to do this together. And like I said, I'm talking about Indian stocks in Instagram, and you can see Instagram videos. I put up a post yesterday. I did share it in WhatsApp too, and I'll do that every day. After I do my tiffin coffee range investing for the day, I'll come out on that and I'll talk about what I did for the day and the news for the day, and any company related things or stock related things which should be of interest to you. I'll definitely capture it there and drop it on WhatsApp too. So that is something you can look forward to. Do a video on competitors and pharma stock. I've done many, and I've covered all these ones you guys are talking about. I did Eli Lilly, I did Novo Nordisk, I think, and AstraZeneca. I've done quite a few of them. So I would suggest you go through the playlist and see. And it kind of gets boring to talk about the same two companies over and over again. So I've done quite a few of them. And if you come with any specific question, then definitely. I've even done mid-cap and looking at the bio sector also. So have a look at it and give me feedback, and definitely I will take it up. Sachin has said, is this US shift due to SEBI or the audience? No, it's not SEBI. SEBI's got nothing to do with this. I'm not here recommending, saying that you should do this or do that in the stock market. So I'm quite safe from SEBI. I'm just sharing what I'm doing personally, and I'm encouraging you to think and to invest. And in terms of, is this because of the audience? No, Anand really honestly feels that it is important that we do consider American stocks and Japanese stocks, because this is of tremendous value. He sees there's value there, and he wants all of us to keep an eye on it, which I think is a fair point. You've requested a playlist, Equity Atlas. I'll ask Rupesh to create a playlist, but going forward, everyday video will be joining that playlist because we're talking about American stocks on a regular basis from now on. Thanks for answering well, Vinod Narayanan and Koki Kumar, glad we met in Bangalore, and I'm happy to shake your hands. I did not capture exactly what Koki Kumar was saying. I think it was something about the past video about the economy, and sure, we'll wait and watch what happens. If you could elaborate that a little bit more, Koki Kumar, I will try and answer that in greater detail in what you were saying. Subaru, Idaho, Vital Farms, GM, all these, which is I Fancy Songs and Vasant Kumar are talking about. Subaru General Motors, I would say, are interesting, especially with the EV shift. And Vital Farms, I should study it. It'll be interesting. Maybe I'll dig up a little more on that and do a video on that one. And how to read annual reports, Senthil. I've done many videos on this. I think I've done beginner-friendly videos in Tamil. I've done it in English. Go back and look at it. And if you want, I can do another one. But I did speak, I think, about Indian companies, Indian annual reports, and Indian balance sheets. If you want it on an American company and American balance sheets, which are slightly different, I can do that too. Let me know. Then last but not least, Srinivasan Aravinda said, unlisted capital, Tata Capital shares. Okay, the whole problem with this unlisted thing is it's not accessible in all these platforms. It's all off market, gray market, and you should be careful because liquidity and pricing is very opaque. So you may be overpaying for it. So make sure you do your due diligence before you do. I'm personally waiting for the IPO. I'm not buying Tata Capital shares in the gray market, and I would suggest you do the same. But that's me. I love your comments. Keep them coming. I'll try and get answers to them each time I come and talk to you guys on this. Today I want to talk about AMD, Nvidia, and we'll dive into the fundamentals. Is there just hype, or is there something really happening, exciting about these AI chips? Of course, AMD has got its MI300 and Nvidia's next one is the Blackwell. But is there really value is what the question is. We're not a tech channel. We're not talking about how great these chips are or benchmarking them. We're talking about the companies here. And are these companies of value right now is the question. And this decade, it seems to be the decade of silicon, because everywhere now in all our industries, silicon seems to be playing a major role. So I can understand why we are all fascinated with chips, and especially electronic companies and semiconductor companies, because silicon is becoming very vital in anything we're doing, be it transport, be it power, be it utilities, be it AI, technology, software. All of it is run on, finally, end of the day, semiconductors. So data centers are also having exponential growth, and all of this is helping us power our AI and AI workload. But every company which we're looking at through this lens of AI, seems to be a lot of snake oil also floating around there. Things people are claiming under the banner of AI. This happened way back during the dot-com boom, where everything was, had a dot-com attached to it, was assumed to be a next big thing. Way back, those of you who were part of the dot-com boom. The same is true with crypto. Anything and everything that had crypto attached to it was considered, crypto and Bitcoin, and wasn't true. Same thing is happening in AI, where anything and everything which is attached with AI in it, I can start an ice cream company and call it Vinod, artificial intelligent ice cream, and it'll probably go through the roof just because it has AI attached to it, because that's the hype which is there around AI. So be careful. There is a lot of snake oil, because the problem is there is unbelievable stories which are being generated with exaggerated deliverables being promised. And if you've read that book which I was talking about, AI Snake Oil, it'll show you how difficult it is to do predictive AI, right? These systems we're trying to predict are random, they are complex, and just because you have AI, it doesn't mean it's just going to miraculously solve these things, because it has huge computational power at great speed. At the end of the day, predicting in this current universe is a null game. You cannot predict anything. I can't even predict what will be my next word or my next sentence. We can try and get close to it, but actually being right on it, it's difficult. And to, say I can predict if someone is going to do this or do that, or a country is going to do this or do that, or a stock even. this explosion of predictive algorithms in investing, saying you can use AI and find out which stocks to be investing. It doesn't work. You cannot, and that is where the snake oil is creeping in. Even in generative AI, it does grunt work. It cannot do creative work. It can do grunt work. I have to decide today what video I'd like to do and what I'd like to talk about, the companies I want to focus on, and where I think we should be keeping our eyes on. And AI can most definitely help me do research and fact check, help me put my thoughts together. But AI, if you ask it to just generate something, it most probably it could have hallucinations. Hallucinations are when AI starts imagining facts and says these are the facts. It's happened many a times. I've seen it myself where ChatGPT claimed that Chennai had like a major earthquake when Chennai never had a major earthquake. Things like that ChatGPT does do if you prompt it correctly. So that is what AI snake oil is all about. Of course, I'm digressing. I'm talking about silicon here, and we're talking about semiconductor companies which are powering AI. So the reason why I'm giving this context is there's a lot of hype, and this hype is driving growth, and this growth is driving earnings, and this earnings which investors are saying is driving price way up to stratospheric levels. The question finally comes down to, is it sustainable? Because the value is what is in question here. Yes, it might be making money, right? AMD is shipping currently this MI300 chip, and they're in the development stage of the MI400, which is supposed to be even better. Nvidia has currently sending out the H100 and the B100 Blackwell. It's supposed to be the crown jewel of AI and supposed to be even better, right? So the question remains, can you make a decent return if you buy these stocks today? Because as an investor, that is where the buck stops. The company may be very valuable, but is it of value today is a big question. And first, if you look at AMD, the MI100, yes, it's very price efficient. That's what's been argued about it. It has customers such as Microsoft, Meta, and Oracle. But the revenue is growing, which is a big yay. But the margins are wafer thin, which is a big problem. Just because your revenues are up, your earnings cannot match because the margins are very small in this. They are making a lot of money in data centers, there's no doubt about it, but they're still lagging behind in this whole ecosystem and developer mind share. So I don't know. So is MI400 going to take care of this? Because they're spending a lot of money and R&D money is being pumped into this. So is it going to create a cash cow for them is something you have to think about as an investor, especially if it's not in your circle of competence. And this is not in my circle of competence. So I really cannot say if the MI400 is going to pull off what AMD requires. Now let's flip over to Nvidia. It is the company spoken most about when it comes to AI. Why? Because they're the CUDA King Kong, right? They just don't sell chips. They're selling you the whole full stack system itself. They're selling you the whole ecosystem. And they're saying the B100 could be performing at double and even better efficiency. But will companies need it? Will they be buying it at this? Is a question that remains. And that too with the tariff war which is going on, I don't know if Nvidia can sustain what it's saying it can sustain, because at the current price Nvidia is at and times earnings it's sitting on, it is only going to be viable for me as a value investor to enter Nvidia if it's going to lead to world domination. That is the price it's at. Now moving on to Super Microcomputer, SMCI. I spoke about this company way back when it was just breaking, the stock price was breaking. Now it's gone through the roof too, right? It's Nvidia's best friend because it makes AI servers, which is much needed, no doubt about it. But it's selling shovel in the AI gold rush. Like I spoke in one of the previous videos about the gold rush in the US and how companies like Levi's and the shovel sellers and all these other secondary service industries to the gold rush were the ones making money. Same way SMCI seems to be a shovel seller in this. The stock is already up 400%, but the earnings are not growing at the same speed as the price which is growing at. So are we chasing a shovel seller? after the gold rush is already started and is boomed, meaning the horse is run out of stable. Now are we trying to close the gate is the question. Just because it's a great business model doesn't mean it is cheap still. Now we spoke about chips. All this is built upon the guys who are supplying the FAB suppliers of the fab suppliers of the US. Who are these guys? ASML, right? He's the kingpin of lithographer, EUV lithographer. He's the kingpin on town. There's nobody. It's a near monopoly he's sitting on. But at the price he's sitting on in terms of earnings, is it worth it? Again, it begs the question, is it sustainable? Even Applied Materials, valuations looks more earthly compared to ASML, but the amount of money that's being spent in capex, in foundries and all that, and the AI infrastructure, will it make sense is a big question. But if I had to pick between both of these, AMAT would be, Applied Materials would probably be a better bet. Then if you go across to Japan, who are the semiconductor kings, from my childhood especially, Japanese electronics were always, considered to be the class which everyone aspires to. There's a company over there called Tokyo Electron. They're saying at a discount. They're also the makers of an FAB equipment. They're crucial for the supply chain, right? Then you have Renaissance. That's a guy who's very big in automotive and industry chip maker, and market is really not paying too much attention to them. The question lies, are they resilient? Are they relevant? Are they reasonably priced? These are the questions which we are going to try and answer now when we look at the price and the discounted cash flow intrinsic value if we look at to this. So if you look at AMD, it is currently trading at $115, discounted cash flow is at 85, and the relative value is at 187, and that puts the intrinsic value at $136, which is 15% undervalued, they're saying, and it's attractive according to the history, the last 5-year history. This is AMD. Nvidia is trading at $140, discounted cash flow saying at 80, relative value is at 135, and intrinsic value is 106, and it's 25% overvalued. So definitely it's not attractive at all. If anything, it's very unattractive. For entering now, these prices which I'm talking about and cash flows which I'm talking about is discounted cash flows for right now. It's a snapshot like an ECG. SMCI is trading at $40, discounted cash flows at 80, relative values at 82, intrinsic value is 81, and it's being undervalued at 50%. But at the same time, if you look at the 5-year history where the price has been moving relative to all this, it looks unattractive. ASML, right? It's trading as an ADR. It's actually a European company trading as a ADR in the US. 1 unit is equal to 1 share. So the prices here, we have to look at euros. Of course, it's converted to dollars and being sold in the American market, but the parent company is in euros and currently is trading at 659 euros. The discounted cash flows at 460 euros. The relative value is 872 and the intrinsic value is at 667 euros. It is currently considered fair price, meaning it's not cheap, it's not expensive, it's about the right price, and it is considered attractive if you look at it the 5 years, looking at intrinsic value and where the stock price has been for the last 5 years. It is attractive right now. AMAT, Applied Materials, which I was talking about, currently it's trading at 165, discounted cash flows at 130, relative value is at 180, and the intrinsic value is $155. Currently looking at it, it's around 6% overvalued and remains unattractive. Though like I said, if I had to pick between these two, I'd probably say Applied Materials. This is what I mean. You'll have to deep dive into it and study it for the simple reason you have to look at the cash flow, you have to look at the return on investment capital, you have to study the balance sheet health, and you have to see the moat especially. This is the most important part. The moat which you are talking about in these companies. Is it just technology, or is there an economic moat? The moat has to be economic for us as value investors to make sense, because if the AI demand stabilizes or even slows, will they still be relevant at these prices is a question you need to ask. And as far as those two Japanese companies are concerned, they're not really actively traded in the US. So the only way you can look at it is buying it in the Japanese market. They are sold as OTCs in the US, but the liquidity is so poor, I would not look at buying it as OTCs in the US. But out of both of them, I would say the Tokyo Electron is the one which is at fair value, and the Renaissance is currently looking rather unattractive and overvalued at the current price where it's sitting. So this is where it stands when it comes to all these companies. Do you find value in any of them? I'm curious to know. So put it down in the comments below if you find any value in any of these, and if you have any of these on your watch list or you're considering them at these current prices. Like I said, this is not really in my wheelhouse, so I would be very cautious when I look at these, and I look at these numbers only purely economically, and I don't look at it in terms of technology. I know a lot of you are there in this technology space, who are in IT, who are in semiconductor, and you have a different view, and I would love to hear it and have a debate about it. So put it down in the comments what your views are, and I would love to hear it. Thanks for watching. Be rich as always. It's been fun recording it remotely from Bangalore, and I've somehow managed to keep my kids out of the room for the last 20 odd minutes. So it's been peaceful. Thank you and good evening.